About you.
Well, I'm Yosef. I'm originally from the Philippines. I was born there, almost raised there. I moved here when I was 14. My family lives in Maryland now. I'm a physics major with emphasis in astronomy, and I also like studying languages a lot. Like it's one of my favorite things to do, languages.
That's cool. So what languages are you studying or do you speak?
I speak English, Tagalog, and Bicolano, which are languages in the Philippines. Mandarin, Chinese, and German, I speak those fluently. And I'm learning Russian right now, Japanese, and I know a good amount of Spanish.
That is incredible. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow. So what was your native language?
I grew up speaking English, actually.
Okay.
Like, my first language was English at home.
Mm-hmm.
I learned Tagalog through my friends.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think when I was around a bit older, my mom would speak to me in Bicolano, which is her like the language of her part of the Philippines. Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. Yeah, because you have a great, like, your accent's perfect, so.
you.
That's awesome.
Philippines is a pretty cool place. Lots of, if you like tropical beaches, it's like probably one of the best places to go. Yeah, it's very varied. We have like about 7,000 islands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of islands. But it's a mixture of like a lot of like modernity mixed in with like a lot of traditional like settings. There's a lot of poor people in the Philippines too, but life is improving. But it has a lot of really good wildlife. Like I said, a lot of really good beaches,
Cool.
ruins, some like natural wonders too. Like we have these hills called the Chocolate Hills because they literally look like chocolate. And there's like hundreds of them. Like,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
as far as the eye can see. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Filipinos emphasize respect to elders a lot more than in the U.S. Like I noticed when I first came to the U.S., I would hear my friends talking how they fought with their parents and how they like would yell at their parents. In the Philippines, it's not acceptable whatsoever to talk back to anybody who's like your elder. And like our language changes when we speak to people who are older than us than when we speak to people who are the same age as us. Like we would refer to our elders or like teachers or whatever. However, as an authority, we would change the way we speak.
That's interesting. So more maybe formal or just
Yeah, more
addressing
formal. Yeah, and then like when we greet elderly people, like people who are older than us, we do this ritual where we like grab their hand and bow and put their hand on our forehead.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as a form of like respect. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And another thing is that like in the Philippines, we typically don't call people just by their names.
Mm.
Like if they are the same age as we are or younger, we would just call them by their name. But if they're older than us, we would have like different titles, like kuya for people who are like old, like our older brother, or could be an older brother in sense of age, or like ate for people who are like our sisters who are older than us, or could be our sisters who are older than us.
Oh,
And like all of my mom's friends, we would call them tito for guys and tita for girls. Like I won't just call my mom's friend John. I would have call him Tito John.
Oh,
Or like
wow.
Tita, like Elena, like we won't call them just by their first names.
That's cool. So you put it before. So,
Yeah,
okay.
like we give titles to people like if they're older, like if they're like almost like grandmother age, we call them Lola instead of like just by their name.
That's so cute.
So it's kind of really weird for me to call like my friends' parents by their first name. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, just call me Kathy. I'm like, I can't call you Kathy. I'll just call you Mrs. Man. There we
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Yeah.
That is so interesting. That's super cool. I'm happy that you mentioned that because I had no idea about that. That's cool. Oh yeah.
The Philippines is, well, we're technically a democratic republic. The United States actually set up our constitution prior to the Second World War. We had our own constitution, and it was redrafted when the Americans took control of the Philippines and basically patterned our constitution after your constitution. It was changed again a little bit in the 1980s after we deposed of like a dictator. But right now, the political climate is it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. There's a lot of corruption in my country. Like Americans say their politicians are corrupt. Ours are worse. And we have a lot of oligarchy in my country. Like most of the Senate and Congress are mostly controlled by families. Like not controlled by people. Like you have the same people from the same families running for office, and people they always get voted in. So you've had the exact same like 10 political families for the past couple of decades ruling the country. Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. So like we think we have a democracy because we vote people in, but we literally just vote whichever family members is their turn to be in the office.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. And
so, do you guys have like political parties or?
we have a couple of political parties. It's not like the US was only two. We have, I think, 4 or 5 major political parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah. One of the biggest issues is, our new president. So, like under the leadership of the old president, President Aquino, the Philippines saw like unprecedented economic, like a boon in the economy. We became the fastest growing economy in Asia, and according to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, we would, if we stayed in our current track, we would be the 12th largest economy in the world by 2050. Yeah, we have like the most powerful stock market in all of Asia.
That's crazy.
Right now. But the only issue is that our current president is kind of crazy. He got elected, not by a landslide, but he got elected by a majority vote, and his main platform is to get rid of the drug problem in the Philippines, which is pretty rampant. But the way he's doing it, he's overstepping constitutional rights of people and human rights. He basically said to Filipinos, hey, if you have a gun and you think your neighbor is a drug addict, you could shoot him. You have my permission. And there have been about 3,000 people who have been killed since he came into office in June. And a couple of them were children who were caught in like, the crossfire or like all these vigilante extrajudicial killings. And it's actually making a lot of foreign investors nervous to invest in the Philippines. It might impact our economy. And another thing is that our president has a really, really weird hate for America. He has openly spoken about cutting ties with the United States. He wants to pull out all American soldiers from the Philippines, which have been there since the Second World War. I mean, the Philippines and the United States have been allies, like really good allies, for like a century now. And he wants to cut those ties and make alliances with China and Russia instead, because China and Russia apparently don't make criticisms of his stepping over human rights and stuff. He's like, oh, look at China, they don't tell us what to do. I'm like, America's not telling you what to do, they're just saying what you're doing is probably wrong, and you should, chillax a little bit. Yeah, he also told the EU to F themselves. He did, he told America, he told Obama to F off and called him an SOB for asking about, about the human rights situation in the Philippines right now. And he also called America a bunch of idiots and monkeys because the U.S. was supposed to sell 100,000 rifles to the Philippines, but decided to cut that instead because of his threats to cut ties with America. And he's a very interesting person.
Wow.
So the political economy is kind of scary in the country right now because he has a lot of followers, numbering the 20 million. Like 20 million people are like solid followers of this president out of 100 million people, which is a sizable amount. And people are afraid to criticize the president now because of the power he has given to vigilantes to just shoot whoever they think might be a drug addict. It's like you don't even go through a judicial process to prove if you do drugs or not. If they think you do drugs, you get shot, you're dead.
Yeah. That is crazy.
And the worst part is he said he plans to kill 3 million people, and he likened himself to Hitler.
Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now, there's a 3 million drug addicts. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them.
Wow.
Yeah, he said, if I have to be the Hitler of my country, I will be. I mean, some people are like, well, he gets the job done. I'm like, there's a difference between getting the job done and doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with my country right now, is we have this president who does whatever he wants in the name of fixing the country.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's causing more problems than actually fixing them. I feel like right now the American political culture is a bit too polarized. You have either extreme left and extreme right people, and there isn't enough moderation in the government anymore. You have like, oh, you can only do this or you can only do that, and like no one wants to make compromises anymore, which is what most of American like American history, like political history, has been founded on. Is a lot of compromises between the different parties. You know, like they do it to benefit the people, not to like benefit the party ideals and philosophy. You know,
totally. Yeah, it's super interesting because I've also learned and heard that it's like actually majority of Americans are more moderate in the middle, but there's not a party or there's not
to represent
anyone
their
that
ideals
to represent
anymore,
that. So it's super interesting that
I mean, there are third parties, but
but they don't.
Yeah, like I honestly like, as much as third parties might be able to do good, the ones that are here right now, they're not doing it the right way. I feel like third parties, if they want to become successful, they need to start from like local government levels, making it their way up to like the top instead of just jumping for the presidency, which is not going to be effective. You know?
Seriously. Well, yeah. I feel like you'd be a great president.
I don't want to ever be in politics ever.
I think you would do great. All right. So then, what aspects of your culture or your country, make you proud to be Filipino, or what are some misconceptions you'd like to address?
I feel like the emphasis on like family is a very important part of like my culture, and something like I really look up to, because families are like the central unit of every society. But in my country, it's very emphasized. Like whatever, like it's kind of like in Mulan, you bring honor to your family. It's like that. Like whatever you do reflects on your family. So many kids are more likely, like less likely to do crazy things because they don't want to reflect badly on like destroy their family name.
Yeah.
Like more kids are more like careful, and more kids are more driven to become more successful because they want to bring honor to their families.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I respect that a lot. I think we don't have enough of that in America. I think people here are just like, I have my freedom and I'm going to do what I want to do, and it's just I think that's really cool, and I'm happy that you recognize that as well. All right. Well, thank you so much. Like that was seriously like
You're
so
welcome.
awesome. I'm just so happy that I interviewed you, because literally that was just like too good. That was